Here is a showing of what remains of the outdoor lighting fixtures that came with my house. I never did a full tour on these because the majority of them were not functional. At some point along the years, somebody like-minded to me owned this house and did a bunch of things that I would also do, including putting lights all over the place. Unfortunately, much of the things that that person did by the time I got to the property were either breaking down from lack of maintenance, disconnected from wiring changes, or just plain broken from time, the lighting system included. This one partially works. I think the motion sensor is busted. It'll come on for a few minutes and then it shuts off and never comes back on. There's one original light still on the side of the house which has never worked. The wire, it just stops. I can trace it in the attic and it just stops, and I don't see where on earth it would have ever connected to. And then there's one in the front that is still fully functional. So I'll come back tonight and show this one and show the other one, but the rest there's nothing to see. So this is one of 3 or 4 different styles of fixtures that were here. There was quite a few of these around. I'll show the different places where they were. I think it's a 500 watts halogen. The lens needs to be cleaned. I did save all the fixtures, of course, so I still have them, and maybe I'll repurpose them someday. I'm not quite sure what the purpose of this one was. It just shines over here into the woods. I believe that this fixture was put here prior to that other house being built, and I suspect that this fixture also predates the installation of the vinyl siding, as it is brown, which would have matched the original siding, which is actually still underneath the vinyl siding, which might become a project for someday. Not anytime soon though, because I have no idea what kind of condition that original siding is in. So there's this one. I think this was disconnected when I moved in, but I reconnected it because it was kind of convenient to do so while fixing something else. Eventually I will reuse this outlet to put a street light here. I'm holding out to put a mercury vapor one here. I really want to find a mercury vapor and put it here. I'm having great difficulty finding a mercury vapor. So this will stay until I find one. Above the basement door there was a twin head floodlight spotlight thing, and I believe that the motion sensor on that was busted as well, which will become a reoccurring theme throughout this video. Above the door here, this is original. This is kind of the same type of thing that was down above the door downstairs, except there was a motion sensor attached. This had bulbs in it that cleared the door by like a millimeter. It was ridiculous. You can see just how little clearance there actually is. A ridiculously tight fit. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I might actually put it back because it's kind of convenient to have something that's instant on. This provides plenty of brightness but takes a few minutes to come up. If you just want to walk outside to grab something downstairs or whatever, it's kind of nice to have something that's instant on. So once I get some switched outlets out here, I might just put this back to the way it was. I'd like to put one of those like 90s style porch lights that everybody had up here, but I don't think there is enough clearance. I could potentially put it over here, but I think I might actually just put this back to the way it was. It kind of made sense, and it did provide very good illumination. If you got 100 or 150 watt halogen floods in there, it lights up the whole deck, and it lights up a good amount of the yard as well. So that's that. On the edge of the deck here, I think it was actually up. I don't know if we can see any of the screw holes still. Maybe I replaced this piece, I don't remember, but up on top of the post here, there was another one of those halogen floods, and the wiring This was the original wiring feed, and I just reused it. I put it into the street light, split it back 2 ways, and powered the other street lights using that. This way it could be switched still from the inside. But it was, it was pretty bright. It illuminated the majority of the space back here. On the side of the house here, there was another halogen floodlight, and again the motion sensor was busted. It illuminated the side of the house very nicely, but only for a couple of minutes. Above the garage, there was also another one of those halogen floodlights, and I think the motion sensor on that one actually worked, but I wanted to dust the dawn light here, and this made a lot more sense because it uses a fraction of the power. Running a 500 watt halogen floodlight every night, that would definitely add up pretty quick. This fixture up here is fully functional. I suspect this one also predates the... Actually, all of these probably predate the installation of the siding because they're all brown. This is a much newer fixture though, which is interesting, I think. It's not an integrated fixture, but it doesn't take standard bulbs. I just never use this because it attracts bugs, and you open the door and all the bugs go in. By the front door, there was another twin head floodlight with a motion sensor that didn't work. I kind of liked having that though. I might put another one back because it illuminated the front yard really well. Not that this doesn't, but again, it was nice to have that instant on if you just want to step outside and go get the mail or something. Having the instant on light was nice. Well, that's potentially not good. That's a would-be. This is the last fixture that came with the house. This one is still here, and it does not work. It has never worked since I moved in because the wire doesn't go anywhere. I'll eventually replace this with some type of a street light as well. So it's kind of interesting to see how at some point somebody thought it was beneficial to have lighting all over the entire property, just like I do, and executed it pretty well. It's kind of a shame that all this stuff broke over the years, but I guess it's just as well, because then it gives me the incentive to use my own fixtures of my own choosing anyways, which I did. So we'll come back tonight and take a look at the two that partially work once it gets dark. It's nighttime now. Let's take a look at these lights. So it's dark in the yard. I don't have anything else turned on except for this light over the doorway. Oh, that's cool. I wonder how long the garage door has been open and what kind of animals came in the time being. Probably a couple hours. That's great. Alright, here's the switch. And there it goes. So, you can see it is quite bright. And actually, it shines down in the yard a lot more than I remember. That's not too bad. And then with that other one mounted up there, what it kind of picked up where this one stops, probably overlapped it quite a bit, lit up that whole area. And then with the other one on the side of the house, the whole yard would have been daylight practically. I mean, that's actually really good. But of course, the amount of light pollution into the neighbor's yard is really not correct. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this back off. But yeah, it works pretty good. And if it was angled properly, you know, it wouldn't be an issue, but it's just not set up properly having the other house there now. I'm pretty sure that that light was installed before that other house was built. Okay, now let's go take a look at the one in the front. And I'm going to close the door so that we don't have any skunks or whatever else come in. Hopefully there's none in there already. Now it is worth noting that since these were all motion activated, it would have been pretty convenient to walk around the yard and just have the lights turn on automatically as you enter that zone where the light would shine. Okay, and now for the one in the front. Now all the lights are turned on. This one, the switch is currently right here. And there it goes. So it shines some light in the house, which is fine. But you can see all the bugs in the summertime fly right up to this light. And then you open the door and all the bugs just come into the house. And that's why I never got much use out of it. Oh, there we go. This almost just happened right now. Okay, so it came on as I was walking down the stairs. And now this is all the blurry. There it goes. And it lights up the stairs nicely. Both sets. And it does light up the driveway pretty good as well. Actually throws the light pretty far. I'm impressed with that. I didn't think that was a very high wattage fixture. In fact, it's still throwing the light over here into the side yard. Of course, over here, the light on the side of the house would have covered this spot. Yeah, that's not bad at all. That's a pretty good light. Yeah, now you can see it. That's pretty good. Get the whole driveway lit up. That is not bad at all. So it works nice. It's just not practical because of the bug. Now if the light was mounted, so let's say there for instance, that would solve that problem and be a lot more practical. I like these halogen bulbs. They have a good color rendering. It's nice, crisp, clean light. Wow, that's hot. Wow. Maybe that's a fairly high wattage bulb then, I don't know. Maybe the size is deceptive. So there we go. Those are the two remaining lights that came with the house that actually work. The illumination is great. It's just oh, there goes that stinking train again. The positioning of this one is not ideal because the bugs come in, and the positioning of the other one is not ideal because it's obnoxious to the neighbor. I'll probably replace both of these fixtures eventually. Maybe this one I'll move it over, I don't know. I feel like the only reason this one's lasted for a while is because it doesn't bake in the sun all day. These motion sensors always seem to fail after just a couple years of operation. I suspect it probably has something to do with the sun yellowing or degrading that little plastic whatever thing that's over the sensor. Ouch. Let me see if I can close this door without it turning on. And then, dang it, it turned on. Well, the motion sensor still works, so I'm going to say we can go outside and see where it starts to come on. But it certainly works, you know, from the time I did use it. It does pick up at the bottom of the stairs, and it does pick up when you open the door. So it does a pretty good job. Just not a good install from that perspective. I would have liked to have seen the, oh gosh, I gotta clean this stinking window. I would have liked to have seen this setup that whatever previous owner of this property did, you know, in full working order, because I think it would have been very good, very thorough light. But it unfortunately was just not in good shape when I got here, and it didn't really make sense to fix it because it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So This was requested by a bunch of people over the years, so hopefully this video showed what people are interested in. I do wish I got more videos of the stuff that was here when I moved in before I started changing stuff, but the process had to go very quickly, and quite frankly there really wasn't all that much here. This place was like just a notch above gutted when I moved in, so it wasn't all that much to see anyways. But that's that. This fixture I'll definitely keep and maybe repurpose someday because it still works. The other one I'll keep the floodlight part at least because that still works, and maybe someday we'll do something with these. Could probably build a nice portable light out of the fixture in the back at least. You know, it might also be interesting to put something like this in the garage just as like a convenience thing when you walk in there, to have the lights come on so you can see where you're going. I actually really like the idea. Maybe that's what I'll do.